welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, March 5th, 2020. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Minister of Agriculture, Sabota Caesar, has once again reiterated the need for crops which are grown for medical purposes to be grown using science and adhering to international protocols. He made the comments as he addressed the stakeholders at a consultation today at French's House, where discussions were focused on the regulatory framework for SVG's legal herbal medicine industry. Minister Caesar said there are many herbs which have been used for generations that are known for their medical use, and while their uses are recognized, the herbs must be grown scientifically.
The turmeric that you're growing in the backyard behind your kitchen sink, where you throw water from your kitchen window when you want to wet it. This is not what we're here to discuss. Or the aloe vera plant that is exposed to the vagaries of all the animals in the community. That's not what we're here to discuss. We have to have a careful track and trace system, and just as we have very stringent conditions enshrined in the protocols and the prerequisites for the growing of cannabis, we also have to have very stringent conditions, because we are living in an era, an epoch, a dispensation whereby we can be subjected to litigation, especially since we are seeking to establish St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a prime medical tourism destination.
Noting the use of certain herbs and medication are concocted without any scientific research, Minister Caesar said ailments cannot be treated by guesswork.
And if you're from my village, there's something called Canadian healing oil, marked on it in bold, for external use only. But it is constantly applied on the outside of your inside. You drink that with a prayer, and different things take place. We are here today to discuss the removal of distrust. As we advance as a people, as a body politic, as a civilization, we cannot treat ailments by sheer guesswork, because the science is clear that unless you know what you're ingesting and unless you have studied the subject matter, you should really not be ingesting a lot of these chemicals that we are taking into our body.
The Agriculture Minister further encouraged farmers not to concentrate solely on cannabis for medical purposes, but diversified with other crops with healing properties.
Some of the commodities that we are going to develop, some have narcotic properties and some do not. And I don't want persons to think that because we are starting with cannabis, that cannabis is the be all and end all of the medicinal industry that we are establishing here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's only one of the commodities. However, I want to make it clear that if we are going to produce medicine from a lot of the commodities that we have in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they have to be grown in conditions whereby international protocols are recognized.
CEO of the SVG Medical Cannabis Authority, Dr. Gerald Thompson, reiterated the need for the medical cannabis industry to be diversified using many of the local herbs. Dr. Thompson said it is his hope that the foundation can be laid for the purpose of examining many of the herbs which have been used in the past.
We know about turmeric and so on. That's why I am really pleased and fascinated by this initiative and by the call of the minister that this industry, as we look to develop, and he'd say it again, I'm sure, cannot just be centered on cannabis alone, but that it must be broadened in many respects. And yes, I mean, we're going to be concentrating somewhat at the MCA on cannabis, medicinal cannabis, but we are hoping that we could launch a whole process where we could look at a number of other things that may well be in vogue for some of our elderly who have used these before, but maybe one or two of them may become in vogue and be found to be important in the treatment of illness going into the future.
The CEO of the Medical Cannabis Authority said much is still unknown as it relates to the medical properties of herbs such as marijuana and turmeric, and took the opportunity to highlight some interesting facts relating to these herbs.
In the cannabis root, we know there's something called CBN that has some impact on asthma. You know, CBN, one of the cannabinoids. But we don't know, we haven't as yet identified if that's in a higher concentration in the cannabis root. But more so, in Thimis, as a result of what's been happening from these different cultures, we have a huge amount of plants that may be considered to have medicinal properties. Moringa, this is something where in the root, the bark, the leaves, and so really we do see active ingredients throughout that plant. So it's very strange. Turmeric has a particular active ingredient called curcumin, but taking the turmeric on its own, just like that, the bioavailability of the curcumin may not be there as if it was extracted on its own and repackaged in a particular way. And so we find all these nuances.
Almost 4 years since he sustained first-degree burns to the upper part of his body during an altercation with the Morgan family of Richland Park, 41-year-old Cuthbert Victory, also known as Mafia, said although the burns have healed, he lives daily with chronic pain and expressed disappointment with the justice system. Last month, the Court of Appeal set aside the 2018 convictions of Pastor Nigel Morgan and his wife Althea and reduced the sentence of their daughter Crystal for causing grievous bodily harm to Victory. They were all serving a 4-year sentence. Pastor Morgan and his wife are now back at home, while their daughter Crystal is expected to be released next month, having already served most of the reduced 3-year sentence. Today, our news team spoke with an aggrieved Victory at his work site where he worked as a carpenter. He said that it has been difficult living with the physical and emotional pain as a result of what transpired in April 2016.
Then I could only work 3 days a week, so because I affect I just get after. When I dip on the roof up there, I go my evening time, all the heat coming out, nothing, nobody ain't coming and say nothing. Well, I feel real pain, plenty pain I just feel. And at night when I lay down this foot here, this is cramping me, this foot here, this is cramping me. Evening time I go home, my whole back, all the heat, I take in, coming out, I can't enclose. We have to enclose and I do work. Like now I in the sun now. And I reach home in the evening now. I'm feeling all the pain. I can't do nothing, I have to walk still, because nobody ain't give me nothing.
Victory, who has 2 daughters, says it has been quite difficult for him financially to support himself and his family. He said it took him almost a year to heal from the burn sustained and could not get a job because of the pain he was feeling.
At the end of I still have to go spend the money for doctor when I get into it. Which recently I been back doctor. Just recently I been doctor. With the same cramp coming down here. All past time I home. If not my friend them bring something for me ain't getting nothing. If I can't walk, sometimes I can hardly move. Well, most of the time it's the home I used to do. When I'm paying home, I never used to go away. Just I get back this work here, I need some money to do my thing I had to do. I'm supposed to go check back the doctor, I need some money to go and check the back all thing. No money ain't coming. I just scraping a little money to get certain things done. I for say praise God I get life so I can move around. But me leave in say so.
Speaking on the recent Court of Appeal ruling, Victory said he prays daily, noting that only God can give him justice.
If not my old parent, my mother, and God, I want to be here today. Trust me. And I see them out here and talking about God. Only God knows I think in here, miss. I don't go to church, but I used to read my Bible and everything. And keep myself out of trouble. I have to pray for themselves and pray for them do. And pray for coming and meet them. Do nothing. Me regret doing nothing, me do them nothing. Let them do me. And I see them do me and them still get free. And them talking about swans too. Just praying to God every day. I just don't want to go down the wrong road. Trust me. So I feel happy. Because them come out there happy. And me hand happy. I'm not sleeping.
In other news, police have arrested and charged 3 persons with the offense of wounding in separate incidents. Everton Stephen Durant, a 36-year-old mason of Riley, was charged with the offense on Friday, February 28. The accused allegedly wounded a 28-year-old resident of Riley by striking him over his left eye with a Sunset Strong rum bottle. In a separate incident, 30-year-old laborer Sean Bino of Lomans Leeward with the same offense of wounding. According to investigations, the accused wounded a 17-year-old resident of Peterborough by cutting him on the left side of his neck and right foot with a knife. The incident occurred at Victoria Park, Kingston, on November 30th last year. The police have also arrested and charged Devon Stapleton, a 24-year-old resident of Pembroke, with the offense of wounding. The police say the accused wounded a 61-year-old resident of Pembroke by stabbing him about his body with a knife at Pembroke on January 19th this year. All 3 accused men were expected to appear before the magistrate court today to answer their charges. The 6th Annual National Schools Garifuna Folk Festival will be held tomorrow, March 6th at the Victoria Park, starting off with a march past at 9 in the morning. Coordinator of the event, Maxine Brown, said there is a packed program of activities as they seek to promote the Garifuna culture among the younger generation.
I appeal to you to come to the Victoria Park tomorrow, Friday, the 6th of March, to the National Schools Garifuna Folk Festival to support our young people. Now, I must hasten to add the main objectives of this program. One, of course, we want to showcase the talent of our young people. We also want to teach them our local history. It's important that they know who we are and where we came from. And most of all, as we incorporate the arts to make learning history fun and excited, we want to create that rich national pride amongst our people. So for intentions, please come out and support the young people.
Brown said there will be additional features to the cultural activities at the festival.
So for the March Past, there is largest group, most organized group. With regard to performing arts, we have most outstanding dance, and I must say, most outstanding Garifuna dance, most outstanding Garifuna choral speech, most outstanding Garifuna song, best drumology, and the list goes on and on. So we indeed believe in motivating our students, and with that, students come out all excited, and of course, you must wear your national colors. In fact, you must wear your Garifuna colors. The colors are yellow, black and white.
The theme for the festival is Children of Châteauer Fruits of Our Heritage. The festival will kickstart the National Heroes and Heritage Month activities.
And this National Schools Garifuna Festival, it sets the pace. And after that, we'll have other things, of course. One of our main events will be the wreath-laying ceremony at the obelisk on March 14th. Then there's Greg's, they have their own festival. And of course, there's Fancy. So Vincent, Sean, you have a lot of places to go on March 14th. Show that you're proud of who you are and support, even at the obelisk, support Greg's, and of course, support our Garifuna people in Fancy.
The schools for children with special needs in Beckwith, Georgetown and Kingston today received more than 6,000 EC dollars from two UK-based associations, the London Association and the SVG Reading Association. High Commissioner of SVG to the UK, Senior Lewis, handed over the monies to Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sir Louis Straker, who distributed them to representatives of the schools.
I know the amount we are giving today is not a great deal. I know that. But it's a principle that I want to establish, and the principle being that when we collect funds in future, the special needs school will be included in that collection. And I'm afraid that our Deputy Prime Minister will have additional work because he will have to separate the funds, and I will discuss with him what proportion we give to the special needs. But the point I want to make here is that the schools with special needs are schools which must have our special consideration.
So Louis thanked Ambassador Lewis for his work and said the Diaspora continues to make its contribution to SVG, especially to those in need.
We want to express our deep appreciation to these associations that have made these donations, and not only these. We must remember that these associations also send regularly a number of sheets and pillowcases for our hospitals. So these associations have at the forefront this country.
Representatives of the two UK-based associations said they are happy to give back to their homeland, SVG.
The donation from the contribution from our independent dinner ball, which is held every October to celebrate the independence of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Well, every year it's a wonderful, wonderful occasion.
One of my objectives was to help school kids in this lovely country of ours. And in tandem with our brilliant High Commissioner, I'm glad to say that I've always, in some way, made a significant contribution to my homeland.
Vincentian Nafisha Richardson is among 5 youth leaders and advocates selected as Escazú Agreement Youth Champion. The other youth champions are from Argentina, Chile, Colombia, and Costa Rica. They were honored at a ceremony in Santiago, Chile. The Escazú Agreement, adopted in 2018, is a groundbreaking treaty recognizing environmental rights in Latin America and the Caribbean. The agreement aims to ensure access to environmental information, participation in environmental decision-making, and justice in environmental matters for people in countries across the region, and to decrease socio-environmental conflicts and protect environmental defenders. Currently, 5 countries have ratified the agreement: Guyana, Bolivia, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Uruguay. 11 countries in the region must ratify the treaty to bring it into force and allow implementation to begin. David Boyd, United Nations Rapporteur for Human Rights and the Environment, is already a champion of the Escazú. SVG's youth champion, Nafisha Richardson, is studying law and is the founder of SPARK SVG, a non-profit youth organization that seeks to motivate, empowers, and inspires young people to ignite positive change in their communities with themes of planet, people, peace, prosperity, and partnership. The refurbished SVG Open Campus Countryside of the University of the West Indies will be reopened on Thursday, March 19, 2020. The refurbished site will be officially reopened by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves and Vice Chancellor of the UWI, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles. PM Gonsalves will deliver the main address, while representatives of the UWI, Sir Hilary Beckles, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the Open Campus, Dr. Luz Longsworth, representatives from the Caribbean Development Bank and the Global Affairs Canada will deliver remarks. The site at Maurice Road in Kingston was renovated with funding provided by the Caribbean Development Bank, the UWI, Global Affairs Canada and the government of SVG under the CDEC project. Meanwhile, the University of the West Indies Open Campus 2020 Council meeting will be hosted here the day after on Friday, March 20th at the Beachcombers Hotel in Villa. The Open Council is the highest decision-making body of the campus and will be presided over by Ambassador Dr. June Sumar, chairman of the Open Campus Council. Approximately 50 delegates representing ministries of education, the University of the West Indies, UWI alumni and Guild of Students are expected to be in attendance at the annual council meeting. A key feature of the council meeting will be the presentation of the principal's report to be delivered by the chairman of council, Dr. Luz Longsworth. Among the accomplishments Dr. Longsworth is expected to highlight are the institutional re-accreditation of the Open Campus for the maximum 7 years by the Barbados Accreditation Council, the pending opening of the new and refurbished site here in SVG and Trinidad and Tobago, the number of partnerships the campus has forged during the year under review, and the growth students' numbers year on year. The meeting will also review the audited financial statements, the audited committee report, and the UWI Open Campus alumni report.